you to speak in the class, where you can just click on your mic and speak in the class. Just make sure before you speak, do not do it abruptly if I'm discussing a certain topic. It is to be done when I'm asking a question or you have some question. You can just raise your hand, okay? Now let's start with the speaking module. Couple of things, some of the basic things that you need to know about this particular module is going to be this, that this module is similar for both the academic and general test taker. Whether you're taking the academic test or you're taking the general test, it doesn't matter. The content would be same. The way your test would be conducted in the actual test is also going to be the same only. And the topics you guys would be receiving, those are also going to be same. Okay, no difference at all, whether you're taking the academic test or you're taking the general training test. Okay, now this is also the only module where you would be having a live interaction with the examiner. If we talk about other modules, reading, listening, and writing, there you are not interacting with any examiner. There would be a hall where you would be sitting and you would be having some invigilators who would be overseeing you, okay, supervising you throughout the test. However, you will not be interacting with those people, and also those people will not be allocating you any scores. However, in the speaking test, you would be interacting with the person live, and this examiner is also going to be allotting you score for the speaking module. Okay, the same person who is conducting your test would be also giving you the score for that test. Okay, and it doesn't happen with any other module that we have in the IELTS test. Now, in this one, first thing, they actually try to give you quite a bit of privacy because they know that speaking can be a little overwhelming, especially when someone is judging you, right? If let's say you are speaking and you know that you will be allocated a score for that test only, you would be having those, doubts, anxiousness, nervousness, all those feelings in your mind. And that is the reason this test is conducted in a separate room, and you would be the only candidate in that room, and except for that there would be no one else. Okay, and this luxury and this particular provision is not there again for the other modules. For the other modules, you would have to share the hall or a room with other candidates. It does not happen with the speaking module. Okay, and there would be no distractions and noise at all, just the examiner and you, and the person, the examiner, would be sitting across from you. There would be a table and a chair, and you would be facing each other, and the person would be asking you the question and you would be answering the questions right away. Okay, that kind of environment is going to be there. Okay, now the duration, the whole duration of the test is going to be 11 to 15 minutes. Okay, it doesn't really go beyond that. Sometimes some students say that, okay, my test last for maybe 30 minutes or something. It doesn't happen. Okay, it could be maybe the person is just nervous and that's the reason that the person is saying that. Okay, but the test is going to be lasting only 12 to 15 minutes. Okay, because this is how they have designed the test, and the examiner would be having a timer with him or her. Okay, and the person would be using that timer to time each part of the speaking. Later on, I would also tell you how many parts are there in the speaking test. Each part of the speaking is timed. Okay, and the person would be having a timer, and each part would be having certain duration, and that duration putting together, you would be having 12 to 15 minutes. Okay, now the test is recorded. Okay, whatever you would be speaking over there, it is going to be recorded. Okay, now recorded doesn't mean that there would be cameras and all. Okay, we are not talking about that sense of recording. There would be a small device where your audio will be recorded. Okay, now why is that? Because some students might not be satisfied with their scores when the result is released, and they somehow think that they performed better than the score that they have received, and they would want to go for re-evaluation. They would want their test to be re-evaluated, and in order to re-evaluate the test, they need some source, and this recording is going to be that source which will be used to check whether your scores can be increased or not. Okay, and now the most important thing about the speaking module, the date for this test is going to be different than any other modules. Other modules, when we say, we are talking about listening, reading, and writing. Those modules, would be having separate date than this. Okay. Now, it could be the case, couple of things you need to remember, that it can be before your LRW, listening, reading, and writing test. It can be after your LRW, or the other thing is that it can be on the same day as LRW. The chances of the last one are usually quite, I would say, low. Okay. So when I say before the test, sometimes your speaking can be just one day before your LRW. It can be maybe a couple of days before your LRW, or it can be even maybe 1 week week before your LRW. Okay. We never know. Okay. Because the date and time are communicated by the IDP. Okay. The IDP, the website and the center, which is, conducting these tests. Now, India, we have only one center and one IELTS body that is conducting this test, that is IDP. And these people are responsible for allocating you a speaking test date as well. The venue could be same as LRW. It could be maybe different than the venue that you would be having for your LRW. We don't know those things. All you have to do, be conscious about that as soon as you fill your test, because when you would be booking your test, you would be getting dates, and those dates are LRW dates only. Okay. Listening, reading, and writing dates. Okay. Those do not include the speaking dates. Okay. These date or a speaking date is going to be communicated, or the venue will be communicated later on. Sometimes it is allowed at certain centers where you can choose the speaking date. Most of the time, you would not be having that privilege. Okay. Most of the centers are not allowing that. Okay. It happened for a couple of months in the past, but it did not stay for a long time. And then again, we are on the same path where you can't really choose the speaking date. Okay. You can't choose that. So it can be well before your LRW. It can be after your LRW. Let's say you have taken your test today, that is 14th of May. And your speaking test could be on 15th. It could be even a week after your test. Okay. And it can be on the same day as your LRW. Now, when we say same day, let's say your LRW at 1 p.m. Your speaking test can be 9 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 p.m. Okay. And it can also be the case that your speaking is after your LRW. Okay. It would not be included in the LRW the same time that you would be having the rest of the modules. Okay. So they would be communicated by IDP via text. They would be texting you as well as emailing. Okay. Just make sure you are constantly checking your devices. You are up to date with the text messages you're receiving, and you're also checking your emails frequently once you have booked your LRW date. Okay. Now look at these, all the things that I've discussed so far. Are we having any questions? Just take 1 minute or 2 minutes. Okay. And then shoot the questions in case you're having. And when you don't have doubts, N would be appreciated in the chat. And N would be appreciated in the chat. And in case there is anyone who is typing in some doubt, make sure you're putting T in the chat. Because if I would start discussing something else, and then suddenly a message pops in the chat. Okay. Perfect. So all these things are clear, because this is the base of the IELTS test, the speaking test. Now we have two formats. Okay, two formats when we talk about the test. There are two formats. One is going to be the in-person interaction. In-person interaction, this is actually the traditional method when the IELTS test started back in maybe decades ago. Then we used to have this in-person interaction only. As I mentioned, you will be having an examiner in a room, and you would be sitting, across from the examiner, in front of the examiner, and the person would be asking you the question, right? That's the traditional method. However, now you also have a video conference. where the test is going to be conducted on a Zoom call. Okay. Now there would not be any difference. Right now you're seeing me on the screen. This is how the test will be, exactly like this only. Just the examiner will be there and you will be there. You don't have to start any meeting or anything. An invigilator would be there and the person would be handling all the technical stuff. All you have to do is go and sit in the cabin or in a room wherever you will be taking the test, and you would be interacting with the examiner live. Okay. Nothing changes. Everything is going to be same. Can we choose? Nishant, unfortunately, no. Right now, they do not give you that choice. You would not know whether you would be having an in-person interview or it would be a video conference. There have been some tests where candidates booked pen and paper test and yet they had to appear for video conference. On the other hand, some students who booked computer-based test, even they had some in-person interaction. Okay. But the chances, I would say, that of having an in-person interaction, those chances are brighter. Okay, those chances are brighter. Which is better? We don't know. Galaxy, please mention your name so that I can address you. We don't know actually. I would not say, because the way test is conducted, the designing is same only. Just the difference could be maybe you are nervous or something. Otherwise, no difference will be there. None is better than the other. Both are going to be similar, and the examiner would be asking the question, part 1, part 2, part 3 will be there. The duration of the test will be same only. No changes will be there at all. So which is better? We can't say for sure. It is whatever gives you better score is better. You can say better. Okay, so the only thing about video conference sometimes is some technical issues could be there, but they are really actually efficient about that, because they know that the test is quite expensive and they would not be giving you any device or internet connection that is not strong enough, right? So that those chances are not there, but technical glitch could be there. That's a small, I would say, that tiny bit of problem. But on the other hand, if you see it on a brighter side, I'm talking about those students. There could be some, there could be some students who are introverted in nature, right? And you are not comfortable talking to someone face to face. Then you would be fine with the video conference. Okay. Okay. So that's what we've discussed so far. And that's what we were saying, that I have already discussed that, but again, it used to happen that which one to be chosen, let's say, right? So there are chances, as I mentioned, that you take pen and paper test, you might receive a video conference, and you might go for CDT, that is computer-based test, and yet you might have to appear for an in-person interview. Sometimes it also depends on the availability of the examiner, whether the examiner is available or not at that particular center. Now, are we having any questions about the modes of the tests? Anyone? About the computer-based test or the pen and paper test? Perfect. Okay. Let's go ahead then. So there are going to be 3 parts in the speaking test. One is going to be the part 1. That is an introductory round of the speaking, a smaller part. I would show you an example as well. Don't worry about that. And then you would be having a part 2 of the speaking. Now, in the part 2 of the speaking, a topic will be given to you, and it is going to be a monologue. Now, what is a monologue? Monologue is a part where you are the only person speaking, because on the part 1 of the speaking, it is going to be an interaction, dialogues. For example, the examiner asks something and you answer something, right? So interaction will be there, a conversation will be there. On the other hand, in the second part of the speaking, you will be the only person speaking. The examiner will not be having any conversation with you. And even if the person is not satisfied with your speaking, or the person is extremely satisfied with your speaking, the person would still not be interacting with you during that time. Okay, because this is your round. Part 3 of the speaking is going to be a discussion round. And here you would be asked some questions related to the topic that you have spoken about on the second part of the speaking. Okay. And these are the 3 main rounds of the speaking. As soon as this round ends, you are done with your speaking test. Okay. Now let me show you an example as well. Just let me share another screen with you all. Now let me know if in case you guys are able to see the other screen I'm sharing. Perfect. Great. Okay, perfect. So you can see here, this is the part one of speaking. You can see part one, right? Here, the examiner asks you about yourself, your home, work, studies, and other familiar topics. So the topics on the part one would be day-to-day conversation, like, what you like, what you dislike, and basically about your life, personal stuff, okay? Part one, we can say, if I have to mention in short words, I would say that it is your round of the speaking, because this is where you just talk about yourself only, okay? On the other hand, if we talk about the second part of the speaking, you can see here a round is given. Here you can see this instruction. It is clearly saying that you will have to talk about the topic for 1 to 2 minutes. Though they are saying that you have to speak for 1 to 2 minutes, you should be speaking exactly for 2 minutes only. Basically, what I'm saying is that because actually in the exam, you are not allowed to use watch. There is no way for you to know how long you've been speaking for, okay? So the examiner would be having the timer. So let the examiner stop you. Now this person can stop you at 1 minute. The person can stop you at 1 minute and 30 seconds. And the person may let you speak for 2 minutes as well. So you have to continue speaking until the examiner doesn't stop you. Okay, that's what one thing you need to keep in mind. And you have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say, which means you get 1 minute to prepare for this topic. This topic has been given to you and you need to speak on this topic for 2 minutes. However, in order to speak for 2 minutes, you need to have material as well. In order to gather that material, they would be giving you 1 minute to prepare for this topic only, okay? Now, during that 1 minute, you can take some notes, right? If you want to, it is up to you whether you want to take some notes or not. If you want to jot down certain points, you can do that because they would be giving you a rough sheet where you can take certain notes and write them down. And when you are speaking, you can look at those notes, okay? And duration, when the test would be conducted, this would be on a sheet. Let's say it is going to be in-person interview. This topic would be given you on a sheet, on a paper, which means that paper is going to be there for the entire time you are speaking on the topic, okay? Even during the 1 minute that you would be preparing for the topic, okay? Now, before I go to the third part, you can ask the questions you're having because one of the students is having a doubt and he's typing right now. If there is anyone else who is having any doubt, you can also type in your doubt or just unmute and speak. No, Nishant. This much time is not there with the examiner, okay? The person might have to take lots of tests in a day only. So you will not be speaking for 3 minutes at all. You would be speaking for 2 minutes, okay? 2 minutes only, 1 minute preparation time. If we consider and look at those, 1 minute and plus 3, so plus 2, then you would be having 3 minutes, okay? Because of that, you might have heard about that. What kinds of notes, Subayan? I would say that the notes could be anything. Now it is up to you. First of all, you're seeing a couple of questions. We also call this topic a cue card. Now, why we call it a cue card? You can see these cues here. Usually there are going to be 4 of the cues, okay? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, for each cue, you can jot down some phrases and words. I would not say full-fledged sentences and everything. No, you would be jotting down some points because you get just 1 minute. There is no way you can write full-fledged sentences in just 1 minute. It doesn't make sense. Obviously, it is practically impossible. So when you're writing, for example, what food or drink you learned to prepare. Food, I can say Maggi, right? I can say dosa. I learned to play just maybe rice, right? I can say drink. I learned to play, learn to make tea. I learned to make how to make a coffee. Anything. Okay. You can just write down whatever the answer is. Where, when it happened 2 years ago, maybe 1 year ago, and then maybe where at home, maybe I was at my friend's place, something, whatever. Okay. How you learned it, I maybe took help of YouTube or one of my friends shared a recipe with me and I followed that recipe, right? How you felt about it, I was really happy because I accomplished something, right? So those accomplishment, where all those points you can write. How many minutes for the introductory round? Approximately 5 to 6 minutes, not more than that. 5 to 6 minutes here and 5 to 6 minutes here, not more than that. This one we know that 3 to 4. Usually here you could say 4 to 5 minutes, not more than that. Yeah, bullet points. Yeah, these are bullet points, and you can also call them cues only. Okay, cues or bullet points, and you can just make notes for that. In the second part, can we use personal experience? Oh, of course, Mehak, actually, second part is the personal experience only, because the person is asking some food or drink that you learned to prepare. Second part of the speaking is going to be again your part only, where you will be sharing a life experience with the examiner. Okay. Do not look at it, okay, I need to speak for 2 minutes and it's a lot of hard work. No, just look at it that you are conversing with someone and something happened with you and you're sharing that story with the examiner. So it is going to be a personal experience only. Second is always the personal experience, Mehak. How can we generate ideas in such short interval to speak for 2 minutes? Rakshita, actually for that you would not do not think of the exam like scenario right now. Okay, what you will be doing, you're taking this class, you would be knowing some strategies. And then I will also share one PDF file with you. Some of you already know about that. That is Makkar PDF, right? So usually in that PDF, you would be having so many topics. Approximately, I would say 70 or 80 topics will be there. Once you have learned the strategies, take 5 cue cards in a day and then think, okay, if this topic comes, what would I say? If this cue card comes, what would I say? If let's say you don't get the exact topic, because 99% of the time you would be getting one of the topics from that PDF only. Okay. Now also let's consider this scenario where you think that you would not be having any topic from that PDF. You will be getting something close to one of the topics only. If you would not be getting the exact topic, you would be getting something close to that topic only. Okay. So that practice would allow you to brainstorm ideas, and eventually if something comes in your test, you would be able to do it 1 minute. 1 minute is more than enough to prepare for a topic. That is all right, Nishant, because tomorrow we will discuss the parameters for the speaking test, and you would know that we don't have task response in this one. Even if you miss one of the points here, one of the cues, it's all right. But I would also mention how you can actually make sure you are, cover everything. Okay. You will be able to cover, Nishant. It doesn't happen that. So topic will be like this. Yes, will be like this only. Okay, Gurumanjit is saying voice is breaking. Is it the case with everyone that my voice is breaking? I think the internet, is a little problematic. Let me just close my video and then tell me how is it, okay? Just let me close my video. Okay, just talk to me a bit. Now, is it fine, everyone? I think it's better because before that, even I received the message that my internet wasn't strong enough. Okay, am I audible enough? Okay, am I audible enough to start with the third part? Okay, perfect. Okay, so now let's see the third part, and here you can say discussion topics, right? Discussion topics, because third part of the speaking is called the discussion round of the speaking. Okay, because look at the first question that we are having. What kinds of things can children learn to cook? Do you think it is important for children learn to cook, right? Next is saying that how enjoyable do you think it would be to work as a professional chef, right? Now, when you're looking at these questions, is there any one, I would ask you just as maybe are you observing something or not? Just tell me what is the difference? Let me just make it little like this. Look at the first part and the third part. What is the difference that you're seeing? Just by looking at it, is there any difference that you're seeing in these two parts? Because both parts are asking questions, but is there any difference that you're seeing? Okay. If you're seeing a difference, what is the difference that we are seeing? Personal and opinion based. Guru Manjit, good. Time duration, okay. Keep mentioning everyone. Your observation, you can mention 2 and 3 interconnected. A good observation, Nishant. But try looking at the first and the third part of the speaking. What is your observation of the third and the first part of speaking? Personal and community. Yes, the first part is about the personal, right? What kind of bill do you pay, right? How do you usually pay bills? Have you ever forgotten, right? Is there anything you could do, right? Now they are asking about you and your life, right? Because part one is the personal round of the speaking. As I mentioned earlier, part one is your round, where the questions are going to be related to your life only. On the other hand, look at the third part. Now, first part is about ourselves, whereas third part is about the topic. Good observation, yes, Arun. And the third part is going to be about people, country, culture, or children. All these general topics. Okay. About children, they are not talking about your children. They're just talking about children in general, right? So they're talking about some abstract and general situations about young people, children. Here they're talking about certain profession, about chef, right? A great chef. So there are some general and you could say some abstract questions. Part one is your round. Part third is not your round. However, your opinion on some general and abstract questions can be asked. Okay. But this is not your life, your round at all. You can talk about yourself. You can mention some personal examples from your personal experience. However, those are going to be there to support something really general. You have, let's say, answered some question, and in order to make your point stronger, you're giving a personal example for that. Okay. Now let's attempt all these questions. I would give you a sample and it would make better sense and it would give you more clarity what differences we are talking about. Okay. Let me just have one sip of water, then we are starting. Okay. Just give me 1 minute. Okay. Am I clearly audible? Am I audible enough to answer these questions? Okay, perfect. Let's start. So the first question is saying, what kinds of bills do you have to pay? Actually, I live with my parents, which means most of the responsibilities are handled by them only. However, there are some bills that I pay. Those are a Wi-Fi bill, first of all, because I'm working online and that's the reason I am the main user of this particular service. So I think it's my responsibility to pay this bill. Apart from that, I have a postpaid SIM. And that's the reason that every month I have to pay this bill as well. Other than that, I'm not paying lots of bills. Okay. So now I was a working professional. I answered this question. Now imagine another scenario, because some of you could be students and you would say, okay, what would I say in this question? Again, you can say, actually, I live with my parents. And fortunately, that's the reason that this is something that I'm not responsible for. Usually my parents in the first and the second week of every month, they would have to pay bills such as, electricity bill, Wi-Fi bill, and even some, we have to recharge our phones as well. Other than that, we are not paying bills. Again, I'm not responsible for any of them, but maybe in the future, I would have to take at least a responsibility for 1 or 2 bills, right? Arjuman, don't worry right now because we are not talking about strategies. I'm just giving you a sample how we will be going about it. So let's talk about the sessions first. Today, we are going to be discussing how the test is going to be. Just one sample from me. And then there would be a video where you would be seeing how it actually happened in the actual test. Okay. How it is going to be happening in the actual test. Okay. Do we have to answer this long or is it 2 or 3 sentences? So first of all, there is no specific limit to that, okay? Because we have to mention that when we are discussing, okay, try to keep your answer 2 to 3 sentences. Why do we have to do that? Because some of you actually give just 1 sentence long answer, okay? That's the reason. But we don't have any specific number of sentences. 3 to 4 sentences are more than fine because you will be able to cover everything in that number of sentences. Otherwise, you would be missing out on the details. Look at the questions here. If you see the second question, it is saying, how do you usually pay bills in cash or by another mode? Now it is saying why, right? If I'm giving clarity or explanation on certain answer that I'm giving, obviously there is no way I can wrap it up in two to three sentences, right? At least couple of sentences, 3 to 4 sentences are going to be there. Some answers could be 2 to 3 sentences. One more thing I would mention, that it also depends on the length of a sentence. If I say that, yes, I pay lots of bills, right? Even this is a sentence. If I say that since I'm actually living with my parents, I'm not paying lots of bills, even this is one sentence. And you can see the difference in the length of these two sentences, right? If you make a complex sentence having two clauses, eventually your sentence would be lengthier than a sentence that is going to be simple, right? So definitely there is no comparison with the number of sentences, but to be on the safer side, 2 to 3 sentences, 3 to 4 sentences are fine, okay? If your answer would be really long, the examiner is going to be interrupting you for sure, okay? In the second question, the why is asked. Yes, if you do not add the details about why in the answer, the examiner is going to be coming back at you and the person would say why. Let's say I say that the question is, the examiner asks, how do you usually pay your bills, in cash or by another mode? Actually, I am more comfortable paying bills online. Then I stop speaking. Then what would happen? The examiner would say why. Okay. On the other hand, okay. Is my voice again breaking? Mention it, please. No, it's fine. Rashmi, maybe try being in network, because most of students are saying it's all right. Okay, so why is always asked by the examiner if in case you're not adding that detail in the answer, or you're leaving something unfinished, okay, incomplete. If it is incomplete, the examiner is going to be coming back at you. Now let's answer these three questions, then we will discuss further, okay? How do you usually pay your bills, in cash or by another mode? Actually, I have been paying my bills online lately because of the comfort and the convenience it offers. Because in the past, I remember that we had to stand in long queues in order to pay the electricity bill. And it used to be really tedious process. However, ever since I have been introduced to Google Pay and Paytm, my life has become much more comfortable, I would say. So that's the reason I'm more comfortable paying online. Have you ever forgotten to pay bills? Actually, again, I would say it is something that is really important for me, because I'm working online. Having a strong internet connection is one of the prerequisite that without which I can't even work at all. And that is precisely the reason that I haven't really been in a situation where I've forgotten to pay a bill. As soon as the first week of any month starts, I would always first be paying a couple of bills, and then I would be managing all my other finances. Okay. Now, in case you want to mention some incident, you can even mention that. However, your story should not be really long. You could say, actually, it happened last month only. It was my, a celebration, or maybe a festival celebration was going on. That was the reason that I was so busy in that it completely skipped my mind that I was to pay my Wi-Fi bill. And luckily, it was a reminder that I received from the service provider, because of which I was able to avoid the situation where my Wi-Fi was disconnected. And that was the only situation that it happened. Okay. Again, you also mentioned a short story, but it is not really long. Is there anything you could do to make your bills cheaper? Unfortunately, I don't think there is any way actually to do that, because though we keep on receiving those vouchers, and which keep on telling that we can receive some, or get some bills maybe reduced, but it hasn't really happened to me. The only way is that which can happen only with the electricity, that if we reduce the uses of it, then we can reduce the bill. Other than that, I don't think it is possible. At least it hasn't really happened to me. Okay. So that's what my answer was. Now, the answers that I gave, was there anything difficult about that? Did I use anything difficult, or was it anything that you think was really complicated? No, actually, like this only. Why? Because speaking is all about being in a conversation, and the examiner is going to be checking your conversation skills only. Okay. Simple answers, but you're answering the question. That's what the person needs. Okay. Try to understand one situation that the examiner doesn't know you and the person has a really big task to perform, that the person is going to be telling you what kind of language skills you have, what your language proficiency, right? The person has that kind of responsibility, and in order to make the process easier, this test has been designed where your conversational skills are checked, because you can't just go to the examiner and chat, right? That's why the test has been designed in a way. Here the person would be checking like how you're talking in normal day-to-day situations. Are you able to hold a conversation if you're talking to someone for a longer period of time? Can you hold a communication? Can you hold a conversation? Can you talk about some abstract situations, such as when we are maybe let's say meeting someone after a long time or something. We usually talk about these general issues only. Did you hear about it? I saw this in the news. All those kinds of topics will be asked here. This is how the test has been designed. Okay. Okay, so now let's attempt the second part of the speaking, and let's see the questions here. Describe some food or drink that you learned to prepare, and what food or drink you learned to prepare, when and where you learned to prepare this, how you learned to prepare this, explain how you felt about learning to prepare this food or drink. These are the topics that, the cues that we have. Now, when answering the questions, we have two options. They're saying, or either you can talk about food, you can talk about certain drink. It is up to you. Okay, whatever is comfortable. Now, when you're answering the questions, do not think that you have to speak on something really difficult or a dish or a drink that nobody has ever heard of. You can talk about even Maggie here. You can talk about even, let's say, how to make dosa, how to make dokla, how to make even, let's say, noodles, okay, how to make Manchurian. All those things can be mentioned. Yes, in the drink, you can talk about tea, Zainab, you can talk about coffee, you can talk about lemon water as well, okay, because they're just asking you learn to prepare something, right? So it doesn't have to be something really complicated, okay? Try to speak on something that you think you're comfortable, you can comfortably, maybe share those details with the person, okay? Because you don't get score talking about something difficult, get scores for your language ability. There are going to be certain parameters the examiner would be having, and the person would be judging your language ability according to those parameters only, not the difficulty level. Okay. Now look at these. Should we talk about the drink or food? You can tell me. So according to that, we can proceed. Shall we talk about food or the drink? Food. Language proficiency, confluency. Language proficiency in the sense, fluency is different, Gurmanjeet. Language proficiency in the sense, like in the English language, you are an intermediate speaker, or you are an advanced speaker. For example, let's say you get 9 bands, right? Which means that you are an advanced speaker of the language, okay? According to that, the band score is given. Food, both. Majority of you saying food only. Let's take food then. And in food, I can take Maggie. Shall we take Maggie? We can even take rice. We can take Maggie. Anything would be fine. I'm taking Maggie just to show you how we need to just have something really simple. We don't need to have something that, again, nobody has ever heard of. In case you want to talk about something else like pancakes and all, right? You can even talk about that, okay? Now let's start, and we would say start with that. I'm going to be having a timer. I have a timer with me, and as soon as the 2 minutes would be done, I would stop speaking. Let me again have a sip of water, then we are starting, okay? Okay, now let's start that. Okay, I'm starting the timer. Cooking has never really been my strong suit, and that is precisely the reason that I don't know many of the dishes. However, I remember that during pandemic, there was a day when my mother wasn't around, and I really was craving to have Maggie. Unfortunately, I was someone who was really dependent on my mother and on my aunt, and sometimes even on my sister. that I did not really know that how to cook Maggie. All I knew was that I can just boil the water and I can put the noodles and the pack of spices that comes with it, and then I would be done with it. However, the Maggie that my mother used to cook used to be really delicious. It used to be filled with lots of vegetables, which means it was healthier. And so keeping that in mind that my mother wasn't there, I just was at home alone. So I just went on YouTube and I searched some recipes. And there is this one where I saw lots of vegetables. I just followed the recipe and I cut all the vegetables. Then I put oil in the pan and then I just saute it for a couple of minutes and put the spice that I got with the Maggi. And then with water, I just boiled it. And the flavor came out to be really good. And I can confidently say that I was actually on cloud nine, just because if it was not for my mother's absence, I would have never learned this dish at all. And now, whenever we have some get together, whenever my family is together, I always enthusiastically say that I would be the one making it. And everyone always appreciate this fact that I know just one dish and I'm really making it whenever the time demands it. So, and also I think that it has made me a little independent, and now I'm also inclined towards learning some other dishes as well, just because of the kind of confidence I gained after making this particular dish. Okay. Now 2 minutes are over. This is how you will be proceeding with that. Oh, sorry, Arjuman. Actually, because of the internet connection, I turned my video off, and that was the reason. Now let me know if my video is visible, everyone. Nishant, it's an idiomatic expression. Cloud nine means I was really happy. Okay, cloud nine means I was really happy. Do we have to build the story? Better if you build a story, which means you can easily speak for 2 minutes. Okay, in case you don't have a story in place, the chances are that you might not reach 2 minutes. This could be the case. Okay, it happens during the mocks as well when I'm conducting. I see that some students are not able to speak for 2 minutes just because they wouldn't have a story in place. Yes, Subayan, I would say yes. You should be speaking until the examiner doesn't stop you. And that was the reason I had a timer on my laptop as well. I put on the timer and I stopped when the time was up. Actually, I had a lot of things to say, but then again, I saw that the time was up. Okay. That is how you would go about it. Having an introduction, small introduction. Okay. Then the story, and then eventually at the end you don't have to continue story until the like till the end. You can even talk about your experience related to that story, how you felt about the whole situation, how it has impacted you and how it has changed you as a person. Remember, at the end I said that because of this, now I want to learn other dishes, and whenever the situation demands, or let's say my family is together, I would be the one coming forward and saying that, okay, I would make Maggie, right? So what happened because of that situation, the story that I told, I changed as a person as well. Okay. Now, when I tell and mention all these details, it would be like I'm sharing a life experience with the examiner. I'm not just fulfilling the requirement of a question that the examiner has given me, right? I'm not just taking the test. I'm telling the examiner, I'm good with the language. And if you want me to hold a conversation, I can hold that pretty fine. Okay. I can do that. Now, are we having any questions, and or we are good to move to the third part of the speaking? Let me know. Any questions, or are we fine with? What do we have to figure out about the words in English? Okay. So what language that are you thinking to say? That would impact your so unfortunately, because if let's say you stop and you want to say something that does harm you, at that time it would be impacting the lexical source. Okay. Vocabulary part, which means you need to strengthen your. Let me again close my camera. I think some students are saying my voice is breaking. Animated voice structure is acceptable in this. What do you mean by that, Vikram? Yeah, I turned off my video. Is it better, Gurmanjeet, now? Third part we are going to be doing, Subhayan. Don't worry, I'm going to be doing it again. I said, in case you forget a word or you want to say something and you want to say something and you forget the word that you want to use in a certain sentence, it would impact your lexical source. Lexical source is one of the parameters in the speaking. It is about vocabulary. Okay, if you want to say something and you can't somehow mention that word, it would impact your lexical source. Don't worry, I will discuss all the parameters tomorrow. Okay, don't worry about that. You will be able to know your weaknesses and strengths just when I would be sharing the details about the parameters. Sujit, I think in that case, first of all, you need to take after these sessions are finished, I would encourage everyone to start taking speaking mocks. Okay, speaking mocks would help you in knowing your weaknesses, because you would be getting one-to-one test and the tutor at the end. That tutor could be me as well. At the end, you would get a feedback. Sujit, at that time, try to understand what your weaknesses are. Is the tutor telling you that you have weak grammar? In case you think the feedback is this, that the let's say the tutor is asking you or telling you, your grammar is not as strong. You need to strengthen that. Okay. Sometimes we can't form the sentences because we are nervous and anxious about the speaking. Then it comes with the practice only. If you practice regularly, you would be having that confidence with you. Okay. Hand gestures, try to keep them in, I would say, minimal. Do not try to show a lot of them. Okay. Arjuman, I would try, because if I try that, you can see that students are saying they are not able to hear me. Arun, you would be having that Calendly link. If you just try to scroll up a bit in your batch or in the WhatsApp group, you would be having the Calendly link. Even today, it was shared in the groups. Okay. Calendly link is going to be there. Okay. I would share that with you all as well at the end of these classes so that you can book a speaking mock. Band scores are unfortunately not given in the mocks, because obviously if you guys definitely would not know that, but when we take training, like when we get certification, we are specifically mentioned that a tutor is not allowed to give any kind of scores, okay, in the mocks or any, because we are not the right people to do that. Okay, but the feedback would be in a way that would help you improve. Okay, sometimes range can be mentioned. Okay, sometimes range can be mentioned. Okay, but usually the scores will not be there. Proper feedback would be there. Is the class improve my fluency and grammar? Subyan, no, here we will not talk about grammar part, because grammar is altogether the English itself. That's altogether the base of the language itself. IELTS is not grammar. IELTS is IELTS. Okay, it is the test you are taking to tell the person, okay, I know the language. Okay, which means you already know the language. You're just taking the test to prove this to the university or the institution. Okay, so it is not meant for the grammar part. Fluency, I would mention that maybe what the fluency is, so that you can understand and work on those things. Okay. Now let's see the third part of the speaking. Now third part of the speaking is going to be different than the first and the second part of the speaking. You can see there are two parts here. I will not take all the questions, because I would show you a video where you will be also seeing the actual test that took place in one of the tests. Okay. Now, young people and cooking, here you can see what kinds of things can children learn to cook. First of all, I would say I'm not in the favor of this idea where we are teaching children to, how to cook, because I think this is the age where they can maybe learn a bit about making sandwiches, and that just could be maybe just putting on jam on pieces of bread. Other than that, I don't think they should learn anything, because it could be, they don't know how to handle certain objects in the kitchen. For example, maybe a child of the age of 5 or 6 can go to a kitchen and then maybe start being adventurous with a knife. So I would not say that they should be the right people to do that. But I think if they are learning, they can learn to just to make a sandwich for themselves, putting on some jam or other, you could say that maybe Nutella or something. Other than that, I don't favor that. Do you think it is important for children to learn to cook? Okay. Now, if you see, I have mentioned quite a bit of details here only. Now I can say that, as I mentioned earlier, that I'm not in the favor of it. First reason is definitely safety, because children are quite curious and they would want to, play with every object that they see. And in the kitchen, most of the objects are either sharp or they are going to be, around the stove only. So I would not say that they should be doing it. Secondly, nowadays they are facing a lot of competition at school where they have to prepare for the tests, and they have to, maybe also participate in extracurricular activities as well. And that is the other reason I don't think it is important for them to learn about these things, because cooking can be learned at any stage of life. So I don't think it is necessary that it is to be learned at a young age. So now I did not give example. Instead of giving an example, I mentioned two ideas here. One was safety and the other one was academic. Here I followed another strategy. I gave some reason that I think this. Then I mentioned, okay, sandwich could be one of the things that they can learn to cook, learn to make, or learn to prepare. Okay. Now let's see this one, working as a chef. How enjoyable do you think it would be to work as a professional chef? Honestly, I would say this idea appeals to me a lot, because maybe I'm a teacher and I'm working most the time on a computer. And on the other hand, working in a kitchen where you are always being creative and imaginative and cooking lots of recipes, this idea appeals to me a lot. And this kind of creativeness and imagination definitely makes this particular profession much more appealing. On the other hand, I would also say that, like any other profession, when you do something repeatedly, at one time it becomes quite monotonous and boring. And that is also the reason I think it sometimes might not be enjoyable for those who have not taken it as a passion. Otherwise, I think it can be really joyful, you could say, profession to be in, right? So what I did, I did not take clearly one side. I mentioned both ways. I said, okay, in this situation, it can be enjoyable. In these situations, it can be a little boring as well, right? So I was on the fence for this one. And that was the reason I mentioned two things here, okay? Now, what skills does a person need to be a great chef? Okay, this is quite a tricky question, I would say, because if I say that for a person to be chef, they definitely need to be familiar with all the different kinds of skills that are needed. And those skills could be related to specifically just their profession, such as maybe being really efficient with the knives and making sure that they know that how to use certain spices and certain dishes. Keeping those aside, I also believe that these people need to be well with the teamwork, because our chef has lots of people working under him or her, and that means they would have to know that how to manage those people, and they can't do it if they are not a team player. So that's one skill. Apart from that, I think other thing would be decision making, because if they are always serving a lot of people on a regular basis, if are not at deciding what dishes are to be served on a certain day and to fulfill the requirements of the customers that visit them quite often, they might not be able to satisfy the people that are regular to them, okay, or are frequently visiting them. That is how I mentioned two skills. Those, now when you say that, sometimes some people might think that, okay, I need to just mention the skills that are specific to these professions only. I mentioned, yes, they need some skills that are specifically for these, such as being good with knives and knowing which spice is to be used in which dish. However, we can also talk about some random skills as well. It could be leadership skill as well. Okay, it is how you explain it and make it relevant to the question. Okay, it influences people as they try to copy these action, like putting in. I somehow, Arvind, did not get your. Is it a question or the answer itself? Okay, so far now, are we having any questions, anyone? Okay, influence people. Let me see. It influences people as they try to copy this action, like putting a pinch of salt on food. Yeah, this could be the case. Are those topics applicable to all topics? Yes, we can say that. We can say that, Subyan. There would be a lot of topics. I would share the PDF with you, okay? And first of all, I would, before we go to the next segment, and next segment is going to be one video I would play of the actual test, because there is no other way for you to know, no other way for you to know that how it will be in the actual exam. And it could be quite shocking how it will be in the actual test, because the way you prepare and the way you are trying to prepare, it could be completely different than what is going to be in the actual test. Okay, in order to make sure you are overcoming those things, I would show you one video, and along when I would be playing that video, I would discuss some of the points, highlighting certain things in that video. Okay, however, before we move to that part, are we have any questions? Just any question? And one more question, has his or her test